Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Hubinar. I'm Randy Hawthorne, the Executive Director here at Nonprofit Hub. And with me today, I have Josh, who's going to demystify Facebook audiences. Josh is with Journity, and Journity happens to be a sponsor of Nonprofit Hub, and we thank them so much for all that they do for us. We're actually a client, and their software is amazing. It's done so much for us in the last few months that we've had it, and we really appreciate it. So welcome, Josh.
Thanks, Randy. I'm really excited to be here, and really, thank you everybody for showing up. I think this is a big topic, demystifying Facebook audiences, and we've got a lot to cover today. So, we're gonna cover a lot of ground, show you kind of the breadth and depth of Facebook, and hopefully get you excited to dig in deeper. And then I always really like to, kind of leave you with action items so that you can actually take the information you learned today and use it today and start getting results. So we're gonna start out with, the question: what is the big deal about Facebook, and why should you even care? And the big deal is really, that Facebook is big. They have 20 billion users worldwide. And for most of us, myself included, that number is just, so big, it's really hard to comprehend. I always think, when I was in grade school, we did models of the solar system, and they always said, if the sun is this basketball, then the earth would be the head of this pin type thing, to give you an idea of, how big the solar system is. I really can't even come up with a visualization for 20 billion people. It's just that big. Almost 80% of Americans are on Facebook. 53% of daily users use it multiple times a day, and on average, Americans are spending almost a full hour, like I think 58 minutes a day, perusing Facebook. So it is really just massive. And if you're looking, if your organization is looking to connect with people, very good chance they're already on Facebook.
Hey, Josh, we're having a little bit of trouble
So
with audio.
Do it.
Josh, we're having a little bit of trouble with audio.
Just
there you are.
Oh, did you miss that?
Yeah, we had a little bit of audio cut out there.
All right, sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
Yeah. So Facebook, as I was saying, is it's not just a lot of people coming together. It's not just like this page if you want to save the pandas type thing. They're trying to really develop meaningful communities, and meaningful communities, as Mark Zuckerberg put it, are communities that are supportive, they're safe, they're informed, they're civically engaged, so that they're active communities, and then they're also inclusive. And really, Facebook has kind of doubled down on this support. So it's translated in at least 101 languages. So if your organization reaches people globally, you can do that. For language, have things like Facebook Lite, which was developed for people with slow connections in third world countries, that so that they can.
Hey, Josh. Sorry, everyone. Josh is having maybe some internet connection issues, and that's messing with his audio. Hey, Josh. Josh? Sorry, everyone. We're having some technical difficulties on the other end, I believe. Looks like he's going to dial back in.
All right. You want me to log out and come back in?
Actually, could you phone in?
Yes. Yep. Let me do that.
Yeah, that might be a little bit better. Sorry about this, everyone. It's really great content. The parts that we're hearing.
Are you able to see my screen as well? I keep getting a message.
The screen is no problem.
Okay. Give me just 1 second.
Okay, sorry. So I hope everyone's having a good day. And also, just so you all know, this will be recorded, and you will be able to share that, and hopefully we'll get caught up on some of the things that Josh has already talked about. So just stand by. I know a lot of you were pretty excited about this one. We've had a lot of buzz on this, and I was going to joke with Josh. It comes about 24 hours too late for me. I was doing some Facebook audience work yesterday and could have really used this content, but. All right, we're getting some movement in the audio side here. This is where I should have some jokes prepared, I'm guessing, like one-sided jokes, because no one could answer anything, so I can't do knock-knock jokes. He's back!
All right. Sorry about that. All right, let me back up a slide or two. All right, here we go. So to pick up where I left off, talking about Facebook is not just big, but they focus on meaningful communities. And you can see they got a lot of tools, and I'm going to kind of breeze through this and provide a little more information later on, just to kind of get to the meat of the matter here. So the question really becomes, with 20 billion people and lots of tools to connect with them, how do you find your audience, specifically your audience? And it's going to start out with installing the Facebook pixel. So if you already have a website, then you actually already have an audience on Facebook, because especially if you're in the United States, almost 80% of Americans are on Facebook. So the people that are visiting your website are likely on Facebook. And the pixel actually allows you to create audiences, take those people that visit your website, and find them on Facebook. So you can develop general remarketing lists just to target people who have been on your website. You can also generate even more detailed lists. You can set up different events, so you can target people who watched a specific video, or who donated, or who haven't donated, who signed up for your email list, all those types of things, and target them with specific messaging. It also gives you the ability to track conversions, which is really important if you're spending money on marketing. is tracking its performance and seeing, where you're getting the most benefit, where you're getting the most engagement. And then with those conversions, you're actually able to unlock some additional features, such as automated bidding methods. You can bid on people who are most likely to convert, high intent users, those types of things, as well as you can expand your audience by creating lookalike audiences from your most engaged group. So if you haven't installed the Pixel yet, go ahead, make sure that's the first thing you do when you get off the call is install it, set it up for conversion tracking, and you can start building those segments out and reaching the audience that you already have. Going beyond that, though, there are a lot of additional types of targeting, and really you get the standard types of targeting that you see in a lot of programmatic marketing providers, such as geolocation. You can target by where people live, those types of things. But the real power of Facebook is the amount of information that people share on Facebook and put in their profile. So you can actually get a really detailed demographics, such as their marital status, if they have kids, how old are their kids, where they went to college, what they studied, where they work, all that type of stuff. And then you can also mix and match that with interests. So are they interested in alleviating poverty? Are they interested in helping animals, that type of thing? And then additionally, you can go even beyond that and look at behaviors, which include life events. Do they have an anniversary coming up? Do they have a birthday coming up? And it can even get as detailed as, did they recently buy a car? And particularly relevant to nonprofits is they actually have information, targeting information on charitable giving history. Have they given to charities? Do they have it broken down into different segments? So have they given to other charities that support a similar cause to you? And you can take all of this information and put together really targeted, detailed audiences. And as you're digging through those, there's a couple things to remember, and it's really comes down to two words, and or. So or actually allows you to expand out your audience. So they can have gone to University A, or they can have gone to University B to get a much larger group, and allows you to actually narrow it down. So they must have gone to University A and studied social work and studied psychology. That type of thing allows you to really, really narrow down and refine. So focusing on those two words and kind of knowing if they're going to grow your audience, targeting or refine it is really important. And then lastly, you can also exclude interests. So if people are interested in one thing, but that could mean, if people are interested in green widgets and they could also like, blue, yellow, or purple widgets, you can exclude some of those that you don't make. So for the sake of exclusion, that also allows you to refine it down even further. This can be a little overwhelming. The breadth of targeting options that Facebook has often leaves you saying, wow, I can do anything. And when your option is to do anything you want, oftentimes it's really hard to get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go through and give you some examples of targeting based on different stages in the donor engagement cycle. And these will be a combination of taking those interests, taking your marketing goals, and working them down to this is the type of thing you should do. So at Journity and 5Q, we follow what we call the 5 stages of donor engagement. And you can see on the left side, there's visitors that we don't know anything about, and then we're moving them through deeper engagement all the way to becoming partners, which would be recurring donors, board members, longtime volunteers, that type of thing. You see at the bottom there are different types of campaigns you want to run at each stage, such as awareness, new names, developing relationships, then asking for donations and fundraising, as well as showing your appreciation and showing the impact of the donations. So we're going to start with an awareness campaign, and this is where your broadest audience is going to be, because right now you're just looking for people that are interested in your cause, and you don't know a lot about them, so you're not able to get very narrow with your targeting. So you're kind of casting a wide net, but you still want to make sure you're reaching an audience that's going to be interested. So for this example, let's say you're an adoption agency, you have a podcast for new parents, it's designed for people that are thinking about adopting, or have recently adopted somebody, and you want to give them support and information for new parents. So with this, you would target kind of general demographics, probably around age, maybe gender, depending on the topic, subject matter. Maybe you have one specifically for dads or specifically for moms. And then you would move into the detailed demographics. This is where you can look at the life events. You can say these are new parents, or they're parents with toddlers, who might find this information very relevant. And then you can also look at people who have shown an interest in similar podcasts or similar websites, or even general interest in adoption. And you can target your campaign directly to that. Again, this is broad. These are people that have never been to your website, and you're just creating awareness and saying, we have this content, you're probably interested in this content. Let's see if there's room for deeper engagement. So the next level of campaign would be a new names campaign. Often these are referred to as lead generation. Nonprofits don't necessarily like that terminology because it tends to be a little more, on the marketing side. But that's kind of the easiest way to refer to it. And in this stage, you're going to get more targeted. You're wanting to make sure that these are qualified leads. And so for this example, we're going to say, how about you need new volunteers? And so since it's volunteers in person, you're going to want to look at location data and age data. And then you're probably also going to want to look at the people who are already volunteering. I put in these demographics based on my experience volunteering at a local rescue mission. I found that about 8 out of 10 people who were volunteering with me were college students, and they were studying social work because they wanted to get experience. They wanted to get experience in a rescue mission and kind of get a feel for what they're going to be working with when they get out of college. So you can look at the detailed demographics. You can say they live in my area, they're currently in college, in these specific colleges nearby, and they're studying a relevant field of study. If you want to go even further, you can say maybe they're Facebook page admins for campus groups, that type of thing. And those might be the types of people that are influencers, and if they have a good experience volunteering, they're going to write about it and post it in the group and potentially reach additional people and bring on additional volunteers. So that's how we get a little more targeted with those types of lead generation campaigns. Next, now that you have people coming or volunteering, they're signing up for your email newsletter, we want to deepen the relationship. And these campaigns really are going to go heavy on the educational content. You're not making it ask right now. You're just wanting to show them information about the cause, what's the need, why is the cause important, information about your organization, what impact are you having, how are you driving results, and improving the cause, and then also educate them about the opportunities that they have to get involved and actually be a part of that story. So let's say for this example, maybe there's new legislation coming out that's impacting your cause, and you really want to get people activated, get them contacting their representatives, signing petitions, that type of thing. Here you're going to look at general demographics, location-based. Maybe it's a state legislation, state law coming into play, so you wouldn't necessarily want to go nationally. Maybe it is nationally, and you don't want to go globally, that type of thing. So you want to look at people have an interest in the location. You want to look at their age, their stage of life. Is this law actually going to impact them? As well as look for potentially admins of local groups that are already focused on that cause. And this is also where you'll want to kind of bring in your own lists. So going back to that pixel, you'll want to go ahead and maybe drop in your email list. Maybe you have a group of influencers that you have in your CRM, and you can put that in and really kind of blast your message out to them to get them activated. And one thing to note here is Facebook's kind of ranking of content actually places groups much higher in the visibility level. It places them in line with families and friends versus pages. So if somebody likes your page, there's a really good chance that they're not going to see your content because it comes after friends and families, it comes after groups, it probably comes after paid advertisements. And so if you're promoting content on pages, you want to boost those posts. But if you're able to get people into your group, then you're going to have a lot more exposure, a lot more visibility, and a lot more engagement. So as you think about activating people, think about moving them towards your group. From there, we can do a donation campaign. So you've got people that are aware of the need, they're already signed up, they've given you permission to contact them, and they're engaged, maybe signing petitions, coming to events, contacting representatives, those types of things. So they're already, geared up and primed to donate. This is where you want to go ahead and make that ask. And you want to really keep this a very narrow audience, because you want to make sure that the people are ready and excited to give. So this is where you want to focus specifically on custom audiences, using that pixel, uploading lists from your CRM, and make sure that those are the people that are most engaged and primed to give. And this is also where it comes in handy to exclude certain interests and that type of thing, to just weed it down, narrow it down as much as possible. And then lastly is the impact campaign, or we like to call it gratitude or appreciation campaign. We found, and this should be focused specifically on people that have donated, they've volunteered, they've attended an event and supported you in some way. One, it's an opportunity to celebrate together. Whenever you have victories, reach goals, that type of thing, you probably celebrate internally with your team. It's important to remember that all of these people have come together to support your organization and support your cause, and they're part of the team too, even though they might not physically be there or might not be employees. So there's a chance to celebrate together. We talked earlier, the donor retention rates, as far as we've seen, as far as industry research we've seen, are about 45%. So less than half of donors are coming back to donate a second time. In that same research, they found that nearly 50% of the people who decided not to come back and make a donation cited that the reason was nobody thanked them and they never got any communication. And this can sound kind of like a sad statistic, like really people are giving to organizations, and the organizations aren't thanking them for that. But the reality is, when you look at things like open rates of emails, maybe they're 30 or 40%, maybe even 50%, that still means 50% of the people that received that email or were sent that email never actually received it. So we think it's really important to reach out through multiple channels: email, text, call, direct mail, as well as running ads, because it's a lot easier to keep somebody who's so excited about your cause that they donated, keep them excited and get them to make additional donations than it is to find somebody and move them all the way through the funnel there. So with this one, you're going strictly with remarketing lists, and you're going to focus on those people that have really been engaged and really supported you. All right, at this point, you might be saying, wow, there are a lot of options. Your mind might be racing with just tons of ideas, or your head might be spinning and you might be a little overwhelmed. What I like to do as we wrap up is I like to come up with some actionable items that you can, key takeaways. You can use these right now to get started. And so we're going to talk about 3 audiences that are consistently top performers. And the first one is a general retargeting list. So that's people who've been to your website already. And really, the research that we've seen say about 1%, 1.1% of users that come to a nonprofit website donate. About 1% sign up for an email newsletter. That's industry-wide. Hopefully you're doing better than that, but the odds are about 99% of the people coming to your website are leaving without taking any of those actions. And the reality is they came to your website because they saw something that interested them. They wanted to learn about, your cause. They wanted to learn about your mission. But maybe they didn't find that information, and that's why they left. By retargeting them, you're actually sending the message, you're keeping in front of them, and you're inviting them to engage further. So that always outperforms kind of cold reach outs or just general interest based, because they're already familiar with you. The next one is retargeting your email list. Email has consistently over the years, it's held steady as a top performer in driving donations and also creating supporters, just because it is a more personal, permission-based medium, if you will. And so, but we find that people's inboxes get cluttered. They might not see the email, or maybe it ends up in their spam filter for whatever reason. If you're sending an email and you're getting 50% open rates even, that's still 50% of people that probably never saw it, but they gave you permission to send them messages because they're interested in it. So if you're able to combine your email with this type of retargeting, you're going to see a lot higher response rate from both email and from your ads. And third, donor reengagement. We talked about that. Donor retention rates are below 50%. You really want to keep people engaged in your cause, keep them focused, keep them knowing the impact and knowing that you care. So continuing to share impact stories, continuing to share opportunities and news with them is really an important way. And this will be also a custom segment based on your CRM, coming out of your CRM. And then as a bonus, a form abandonment list is one tech that we use. You see this a lot in e-commerce. So maybe you've added some items to your cart on a website, and then you go away, and an hour later or 2 hours later, you get an email that says, hey, did you have a problem checking out? You still have stuff in your cart. And then maybe the next day you'll get a coupon that says, oh, 15% off the things that are in your cart. And we see that in e-commerce, people actually respond to those emails, and about 30% of them will continue to check out. We see really similar results in nonprofits as well. 83% of users that actually get to your form page and start filling it out don't finish, essentially. So we do, through Journity, we actually create custom segments and retarget them when people come back to your website if they've started a form and haven't filled it out. And we've seen about 34% on average retention rate. So about 34% of those people will actually go out and fill out the form if they've been prompted with a reminder. And you can do the same thing by reaching out to them on Facebook through this type of custom segment and custom list. And again, that segment is generated through the pixel. So be sure to go ahead and install that pixel as quickly as possible. So that is an overview of Facebook. Hopefully you have a lot of great ideas. Hopefully you're ready to take action today. If you're sitting there and you're a little overwhelmed, we actually are going to have a 5-day Facebook challenge to help set up audiences, help brainstorm ideas, and get campaigns ready. It's going to be done through a Facebook group. It's not even publicly available yet. You guys are getting, the inside scoop. You're getting the first to know about it. It's going to start September 9th, and we're going to start announcing it next week. So you'll receive an email about it, and hopefully you'll be excited. It'll be an opportunity for you to ask questions if you get stuck, and work together collaboratively through a Facebook group to go ahead and kind of supercharge your Facebook marketing. So we're excited about that. Hopefully that you'll find that very helpful as well. And if you would like a copy of the slide deck, I know we covered a ton of information, or you have any questions, this is my email address, and feel free to reach out to me. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Josh, for all of that great information. If you do have any questions, here's a question. Amanda asks, the Facebook pixel, is that a feature of Facebook or is it a third party?
It is. It comes directly from Facebook.
That's what I thought. And if there are any more questions, feel free to put those in the question box. We'll hang out here for about 30 seconds or so to see if anyone has anything that they want to talk about. Otherwise, Josh is, at the beginning of a vacation. It's a long weekend here in America. We get Monday off. Most of us do anyway, so that's fine. Hannah asks, is the Facebook Pixel free?
Yes.
Okay. And where do we find information on how to do that?
Yep, you'll find it right in your Facebook account. I highly recommend using a business manager account, just because it's a lot easier, especially for organizations, to manage that, manage different users. That's also free. So what you would do is you'd sign up for a business manager account, and then you'd connect your Facebook page to it. And then within that account, there's a tab that says Pixels and Tracking.
Cool. So what can I expect the outcome to be for a 5-day Facebook challenge?
So what we're going to do is we're going to cover everything from start to beginning. We're going to start with helping you get your Facebook Pixel installed, giving you suggestions and tips on how to get that set up so that you're tracking conversions properly, all the way through brainstorming interests and ideas, so that at the very end, the end result is you'll have campaigns either going or ready to go, and hopefully be driving new traffic to your or your nonprofit.
Any advice on how to work the targeting and segmenting of Facebook audiences into the Facebook's new algorithm, which is a sentence that you say every day, the new algorithm, learning phase, yeah. and how they are pushing us to actually now broaden our audiences?
Yeah, definitely. So, really, you do want a significant size audience when you're targeting. Otherwise, you'll be running campaigns that get one click a month or something like that. So I would really look at those and or statements and really work on those to make sure your audience is the right size, but still highly targeted.
And how do you suggest engaging audiences in responding to posts aside from liking the post?
I guess, do you think that means, what types of engagements are you looking for beyond the
That's how I would take that.
Yeah. So, I mean, with Facebook's algorithm right now, I would encourage people to get into groups. I was speaking with a Facebook rep earlier this year, and they said that with the focus on meaningful communities, the groups get the same level of visibility as your friends and family. So if you're able to, post something that's engaging and follow it up with a group, kind of like we're doing with the 5-day challenge, that adds a lot of value, then you'll be able to get people in. You'll be able to go live and actually converse with them. You'll be able to have comments and conversations as well.
All right. When you say making sure your audience is the right size, what is the right size?
That'll depend on the type of campaign and your budget. Really, you want to go as broad as you can go with awareness campaigns and still be relevant, kind of cast a wide net, all the way down to your most narrow campaign is going to be that appreciation campaign, and the right size there will be dependent on how many donors and volunteers and other supporters that you have. You do have to have a minimum threshold. I think last time I checked it was 1,000 with Facebook. So you have to have 1,000 matches to be able to run campaigns to them. I believe that's the minimum.
It seems like it. I was messing in there yesterday, and it seems like you can't segment too much below 1,000. It doesn't really even make a lot of sense either from a marketing perspective. How do you capture leads from Facebook to your CRM?
Mm-hmm. So Facebook does have a lead generation type campaign, and that they usually generates a CSV file that you can import, or you can actually just go ahead and promote links to landing pages that import directly into your CRM. Typically, we do that in conjunction with something that offers value. So that might be in keeping with the rescue mission type theme. You might want to create a PDF file that says, these are the things in your community that you can be involved in to help with homelessness, or top 10 things you didn't know about, or you can have an event, sign up to be a part of this local event, that type of thing, something that offers value up front and that people are going to want to give you permission to contact them about.
All right. This must be something I missed, but I think it's a point of clarification for Matt. Is the marketing for past owners in the form of a post or a message or something else?
Yes, I would actually do that in the form of direct ads. So that way, if you have a post that can be public to everybody, I would just go ahead and make a direct newsfeed ad, kind of right in your ads account. You could additionally have a closed group. Facebook allows for different types of group. You could have a closed group or an invite-only group that allows you to provide insights or connect directly to donors in that respect.
Is there any recommendations on a minimum bid to make sure your campaign runs?
No, it'll vary greatly based on who you're targeting and kind of what industry you're in, or I guess what type of cause you're focused on. So that'll vary quite a bit. And what I tend to do is I tend to actually, put the bid a little lower than what Facebook recommends and just watch it for a day to see if it runs. Because oftentimes you can actually get it much cheaper than Facebook recommends, but you have to monitor it and make sure that it is getting the impressions that you want.
All right, I feel like, one last one. What are your top recommendations for avoiding the creepiness vibe from using these strategies?
I would, I recommend just kind of focusing it on things that people have expressed as their interests. There's always going to be some people that are creeped out, and there are some things that definitely draw attention to that. Sometimes my kids will be watching a TV show, and then suddenly I'll get a Facebook ad for it in real time, which is a little creepy. But I would stick more towards interesting themes. If people are consistently talking about an interest, a more generalized interest, then they're not going to be surprised when they start receiving ads about it. And in most cases, they'll actually be happy because your ads will be relevant to them rather than just general untargeted ads that take up their space.
Let's see. Someone is working in agriculture, and the audience seems to be missing in the demographic listings. Any thoughts on how that might work?
I would have to look into it specifically for agriculture. I would say, you could start by looking at their interest base. So there are a lot of publications that are relevant to the agricultural community. There are a lot of groups out there as well as like advocacy groups and that type of thing. So I would start by people who are interested in those specific groups.
Yeah, I'm being from a agricultural background myself, and just kind of thinking about this is just no substance behind this except for knowing friends. It's usually the females of the family that are on Facebook, and they're and the males are sharing the Facebook page. It seems like out in my small community, it seems like that's how that kind of all works.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
And they're all doing the farming. So,
yeah, for sure. There are definitely agricultural associations, and I know of a couple big ones, but I'm completely blanking right now. It's one of those, when you're on the spot. But I do know that there are a couple that are very active on Facebook and have very large audiences. That would be a good reach.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Josh, for your time today. And thanks to everyone for listening in. We will have a recording of this that will be going out. And thank you to Journity for everything that you do for Nonprofit Hub. And everyone that gets to enjoy Labor Day on Monday, have a great long weekend.